Let me just go from there. Okay. So we're here for the pendulum, working with your pendulum. So as we all know, pendulums look like, they're just any kind of weighted material with some sort of cord or chain. I've seen people use like paper clips in the string, like legit, like saw them do that. I've seen people use leather, and there's a bunch of people who have like really elaborate pendulums with like, it's really anything that moves for you. So it's so important when you're going to pick out pendulums that you test them whenever you're picking them out, because some of them will move just very slightly and some of them will just like go and just move. So I don't know if you are, someone just joined us. They're via a phone.
That's
Hello?
me, Monica. It's Amy.
Hi, Amy. How's it going?
I'm on my iPhone, so I can't see you. I can hear you, though.
Okay. All right, cool. So we're going over our pendulums. And so before we start, I just wanted to kind of clear out our space. And also, if you have sage with you, I recommend to go ahead and break off a piece or whatever you like to do and just kind of give your pendulum some sage love. So, and if you don't have any sage near you, let's just say that the sage that's coming over the Zoom class is going to be enough to just kind of clear out the entire space. So before I do any kind of spiritual work, whether it's working in pendulums, working with tarot, doing any kind of meditation at all, I always bring a piece of sage just to clear my own air, because the conversations that you had before you came into your own spiritual space are going to influence the kind of work that you do. So like, say for instance, this didn't happen, but just, hypothetically, I have an argument with my son or with my husband about something. And then I'm like, oh my God, I got to go start this. That energy would be brought into here, and we don't want that, right? So we just want to be clear of our stuff. So what sage does is just clears out the energetic smog that surrounds us and surrounding certain items. So whenever you get your pendulum at the store, online, wherever you're going to get it, I suggest you get it in person though, just because you want to touch it. You want to be able to feel the energy from it. I personally would never buy a used pendulum. I know, like at a garage sale or a estate sale or something like that, because I just wouldn't be certain about the energy or how it was used, unless it was like wicked cool and then I would have to like salt it and like do some really heavy duty stuff. So just clear out your pendulum and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Okay.
Did you use selenite to clear it when you got it?
Yeah. So if you have some sort of slab or a rod, I have selenite galore in my house. Yeah. Then you can put it on selenite. I usually do it overnight.
Yeah, I usually do that too with new crystals.
Yeah. And then you can just sage it before you use it every time. I usually just sage it every time.
Yeah. Okay.
Just as like almost like brushing my teeth, It's that important. And then Amy's back.
I'm all saged.
All right, cool. You had to put the phone down, Sage. Okay. Yeah. So after we've saged and you got your pendulum already, the second thing that you want to do is to make sure that you're properly centered and grounded. And usually whenever you're saging, you were saying something like, release all toxic energies from my body so that I can be in a space of trust and light and healing. So like I usually kind of say some sort of mantra to get me in the spirit of the work. And so if you are there, you just want to make sure that both of your feet are on something, like on the floor. If you're seated on the floor, you just want to make sure that your pelvis is completely firm on the whatever it is. It could be your mattress even, but just making sure that you're just present to the sensation of your body. I know another girl who likes to do all of her work kneeling. So she has her knees down on the floor. Same thing. You just want to feel the energy of your body going down into the earth. So when we think about grounding, it's that we're growing roots. This is like the best visualization and the easiest technique for grounding is to imagine that the light is coming from the center of your belly, of your solar plexus, and traveling down into the earth. And so that you're cosmically rooting yourself into the grid of the earth, into the matrix of the earth. So when you're doing this kind of work, any kind of spiritual metaphysical work, what happens is that your vibration elevates, okay? Because as you're working with your higher self, you have to elevate your frequency in order to hear the guidance that's coming down. And so whenever I'm sitting and about to do any kind of pendulum, I make sure I have a straight spine, just like the plumb line of your pendulum. So I have to sit up straight, nice and pencil straight. And then you can start to feel as you ground, just close your eyes for a moment, bring your hands onto your thighs or on your knees, wherever you are, and just take a deep breath in. And then on your exhale, just drive the energy down into the body, into your pelvis, and down through your legs and into the earth. And you can do that a couple of times. There are some factors that can prohibit you from grounding properly. One is if you're very emotional during the time. And that's when you wouldn't want to use a pendulum anyways, is if you feel really just like overwhelmed or, over emotional or whatever. That can prevent you from like a really firm grounding, as well as fake grounding, which I call false grounding, fake grounding. That's what I mean by over caffeinated, like way too much food. Like if I ate a huge meal of like a chicken parm, that would be fake grounding because I'm using food to ground myself instead of my energy.
Yeah.
What else? Drugs, alcohol, all that's fake grounding. And so, okay, does that make sense?
Yes.
All right,
Yep.
do you feel centered?
Yes.
Okay, so
Yep.
then we're going to take your pendulum and you're just going to hold it, and you can use your hand. This is what I would do when I'm first creating a relationship with the pendulum, is take it in one hand and then the other one have it into the center of your palm, almost like really close. And then you can start to see, you can just ask your pendulum, is it appropriate or is it the right time to be working with you tonight? And it might go forward and back for you, like mine's doing for me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So did everybody get some sort of response?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then we're going to talk about, what was the next one? Dowsing. I don't have the sheet directly in front of me.
Yes, dowsing.
Dowsing. Okay. So when we're dowsing, this is just establishing yes, no, maybe. And I don't want to answer that. So I always think of this as like a magic 8 ball and you're like shaking it around. Oh, ask again later, you know? It's kind of funny. So this is when people will use either they actually sell like dowsing pads or dowsing, what do you call them? Like blankets or little, they're usually like small squares, and they'll have like a yes, no, maybe, the places for your pendulum to go to that are already set for you. That's awesome if you just want to do that. I just like to know, sometimes the thing I don't like about that is that not every single pendulum will respond with those answers in that order or in that fashion. So like, for instance, my yes might be completely different from Katie's yes or from Amy's yes. So what I like to do is ask it. So when you're holding it into your hand, okay, what is my yes? And I'll tell you. What is my no? Goes side to side. Okay. And then what is my maybe? And I have a counterclockwise. And what is ask again later? And that's clockwise. Okay. And then usually when it's done answering me, it goes into the yes and no, just to tell me like, I'm done. What's the next question? Some people refer to it as the waiting position. So let's all find your dowsing. So has everyone done that part of it before?
I have, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Have you too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what is it that we're talking to whenever we're going into this work? That's like a big question that I
Okay.
get. Like, are you moving it? Is it your ego moving it? So from what my guides and the people who I've communicated with, other people who work with pendulums, this is all work that's done for the from high vibration. When I work with pendulums, I am doing it for the greater good, right? For myself and for a collective good. So it's very easy to get confused, I think, whenever we think of what working from the ego and working from your higher self. So your ego is asking questions that are more personalized, I think, in a way. Like, say, for instance, asking a question um, should I go with this person should I go with this person to the movies on Saturday? When it's like somebody that I know, like deep down, I don't really want to spend time with or something like that. That's more of an ego focused question. So whenever you're asking that, you just want to be sure again that you're centered. So when I like to come into this, I say, I call upon my highest self. So after that, you kind of have to, again, root down and continue to root down before each question. What am I speaking with my highest self? This is the self of the greater good, of the best intentions for me and for everyone I come in contact with. So it'll say yes. And then I'll even ask, like, is this my ego? And it'll say no. So that way I know for certain who I'm speaking with. Now, when we think of our higher selves, are you familiar with that terminology? Higher self?
Yeah.
So that is kind of like your, I also have heard it referred to as the oversoul. So it's like someone who, your oversoul is like your higher self, but it's like up and, I almost want to say like watching us like a movie. Your oversoul wants to kind of see you perform at your absolute best, but watches the entire time. It's like, just like witnessing the whole thing. Okay. And that's why when we say when we're going into meditation, it's like be the witness, like get out of your ego and just be the witness. So you can see from more of a different perspective, so to speak. Okay. So we have that all set. Dowsing. Okay. So there's all these different things to clear out energy. So you can clear out your house, your room, or your office. Now for me, I'm a medium and I've been forever a medium. So one of the things that kind of follows me are different spirits wanting to be crossed over or waiting to get my attention at the right moment. I've seen a bunch of stuff that I can't explain. And a lot of times energy that follows people, like different spirits that follow people, when they see me, they will attach to me. This happened to me whenever I was with my massage therapist. She was going through some really difficult times. And I was talking to her about it. And she was very young. She was like in her early 20s. And whatever was on her stuck to me. And it took me a little bit to figure it out. It took about a week. And then I was hanging out with my psychic friend, and he called me about a week later. He was like, there was something on you, right? I was like, yes. And thank you for the validation, because it was like really weird. So I have to just make it a point to, whenever I'm clearing out myself, I clear out everything in my house, like clearing out my room, clearing out my office, bedroom. And so whenever you think of like, do I have a spirit or an entity in my home? I think the biggest indicator that you do is if you have, you wake up in the middle of the night for no reason at the same time or around the same time. If you have sudden changes of mood that are just like, that usually go into more of like aggression. That tends to be more low vibration energy. So that's it is what it is. A lot of times spirits are annoyed that they're still here. And so their vibration is just there. Some are not, like it just depends. That's a generalization, but I'll say that some energies are very like kind and they're not like that at all. But still waking me up in the middle of the night, that's not okay. And I have to release it. So does anybody experience that?
I have in the middle of the night. I have.
Okay. Have you ever cleared your room with a pendulum?
No, I haven't.
So that might be something you can try, is just when you're there and you're in your space, you would ask, okay, is this my high self? Are there any entities, spirits, ghosts, anything that are not of this dimension in this room? Okay, so of this dimension meaning like in the third dimension, in our dimension that we can see. So like ghosts and all that, those are in fourth and fifth dimension. Sometimes like if you're working with angel energy, that's way up higher. That's like seventh, eighth, ninth dimension. That and those are the energies that you actually want to work with. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. So spaces, okay, objects as well. If you do any tarot cards or oracle cards, you can clear out your crystals. You can clear out your tea. You can clear out, and Stu does this all the time at Zuzu. She'll put her tea and coffee on slabs of selenite before she drinks them.
Yeah.
I usually clear mine out with a pendulum. And then
Monica?
Yeah.
Monica, a question. This
Sure.
may sound really, really stupid.
No.
But can like dolls hold energy?
Yes.
Because I have a doll that moves on me all the time, and I have to keep turning her back. And I think it's weird. I'm like, what is this? Why does this keep happening?
I would definitely say that that's not, that's definitely peculiar. Definitely.
Yeah.
So paranormal can hold on to objects for sure. I've had furniture that feels weird to me. So dolls that's so Annabelle. Have you seen the movie Annabelle? Oh my God, freaked me out forever.
No, I haven't seen that. I've heard of it.
Don't watch it.
Okay.
Commercial was enough.
So all you would want to do is you can use your pendulum if you feel that it is safe to do so. The thing is that when you're working with like other dimensions, you want to have your team of people with you. You want to call upon your ancestors and your angels and your guides to help you, because you never do the work alone, ever. And in fact, like if I was to go and to clear out your home, like if you had something there, I would never do it alone. I would always bring a friend, somebody with me who also knew how to do that work. So I would be cautious if you're doing that with the doll.
Okay.
You can always ask, is this someone that I know? But as
I
well.
feel like it's someone. I feel like she's watching me.
I'm sorry, what?
I just feel like she's been watching me because I've been under a lot of stress lately, and I do wake up in the middle of the night, and she's right like near my bed. So I just feel like that's what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't feel like it's negative energy. I actually feel like it's like someone like that's passed on from my family. Like I feel like they're using the doll to like
communicate with you.
I don't know. Yeah, that's
so
what
here's
where
we get into some interesting topics, because this is what I listed as don't use the pendulum for, is to communicate with the dead, is to communicate with those, and not that every single time is going to be a bad experience, but once you open the door to that, it's an incredibly hard door to shut. And so you have to do it with complete caution. I would definitely sage the doll and just ask for good energy to be around you at all times, especially before you go to bed. Call upon the angels, Archangel Michael, to help you with protection.
Okay.
Does that make sense? I wouldn't try to communicate with the doll or whatever spirit holds inside the doll with your pendulum. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't do it.
All right, I won't do that.
Okay. I think that would open the door to some really scary stuff. That's just from
Okay.
experience. Because believe me, I've tried it all. It's like,
Okay.
so the pendulum can be very much like a Ouija board, and people have used it for that. And so you know what a Ouija board is? It has like it has the alphabet, and you hold your hand on the thing.
Yeah.
And they have charts that are like that for the pendulum. So it can direct you to different, and so that kind of thing, you just never know who you're talking to, and you don't know for sure if that doll is someone you know or someone you don't. So let's just sage and just be safe with that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the other things? Clearing energies in the body, chakras, your muscles, your bones, and your emotional body. This is a big one for me because I'm a yoga teacher. And so I go through the chakra system. So the chakras start at your pelvis, then your sacrum, your solar plexus, your heart, your throat, your third eye, and your crown. So you can go through, and I usually start at the base, and you kind of just hold your, I'll just do it with my throat since this is where, so you would just say, is there anything holding here in my throat? And no, my throat's clear. Is there anything in my third eye? Yes. And then please clear. It'll clear, and then it'll go into your yes position. So those will start to kind of wipe out. I just call this keeping my windows clean. So it just kind of helps to clear out the body energetic centers so that you can just be a clear channel. And that's really important. A lot of times too, if I'm having a really hard time with my hip or with my shoulder, I'll literally just hold my pendulum over my shoulder and it will start to clear out.
So it can help with
my hands or my wrists, and my feet and my knees and my thigh, like anywhere, and you will do that work typically in a salt bath. Because the salt is a very effective way to clear energy out. So when you're doing salt and pendulum at the same time, it's like, it happens so fast and you just feel like $1 million afterwards. If you've never tried it, salt, a lot, like 2 cups of salt.
Just like Epsom salt?
Epsom salts, yeah.
Yeah.
I went swimming in like this really, really salty cave in Bermuda where you kind of float because it had so much salt in it.
Yes, that's how much salt you want.
Yeah, and it felt really good.
Yeah. And yeah, same with the ocean. That's why like being near water up here on the East Coast is so awesome because we're always so close by to the salt water. And just putting your feet in. I mean, not at this time of year, but that's why we have salt baths. Any other questions about that?
No, but you did. So it can help with injuries. Is that what you're saying?
It can help.
Like I sprained my wrist, so I'm holding it over my wrist right now, hoping it'll help it.
It will kind of clear out like the pathways, the meridians, to help kind of like move the chi, much like acupuncture.
Okay.
It moves the chi.
Okay.
You have to direct it to do anything, or you just hold it over it?
I hold it over and I'll just say like, is there, I don't say anything out loud, is there anything here that needs to clear out? It'll say yes and just clear it. You can even go over each individual finger and it'll kind of clear out which ones need it.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
You know what I'm saying? And then grounding and centering, which we already went over. Finding lost items. If you lost, like this, what happened to me is I lost my wallet. I left it inside of a cart at a Target in the middle of a parking lot. So smart.
Wow.
And I was like, shit. And it took me a day to realize that it was gone too. So I was like, of course, I pulled out my pendulum. I'm like, am I ever going to see this wallet again? And it said yes. So I was like, oh my God, really? So I called them and they're like, no, we don't have it. Sorry. And I'm like, damn, pendulum's wrong. So I go and I go to acupuncture and I still have my pendulum. And I'm like, I keep feeling like it's going to be there. So I was just like, I'm not going to call. I'm just going to go straight there. I'm going to go ask. And I did. And they were like, oh, what does it look like? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, it's gray. It's a little wristed. They're like, yeah, it's right here. And it was there. I was like, yes. And yeah, I got lucky. I do it a lot with
that's
like
happened to me before, not with a wallet, but I think my coupon book. I was so happy.
Jewelry too, like I'll say, like, is this bracelet in this room? Or is this bracelet in my house? Did I leave it in my car? You know, it'll kind of like tell me yes, no, and maybe.
And it'll say yes or no. That's cool.
Yeah. So lost items, you know. Let's see. So getting answers for questions, needing a high level of guidance. So whenever like, these questions can just be more of like, it's hard to explain, I guess. What if you're having any kind of spiritual issues around faith, I guess, I will kind of connect to my higher self. And this is more about removing programs than anything. But when you're clearing out energy about connecting to higher self, you're just kind of like releasing the negativity from you and allowing high vibration to flow through the crown of your head. So if you were to imagine, you know how I said you have to sit up nice and tall, like a straight plumb line. So whenever you're doing energy work, you just want to imagine that channel from the spine up is a highway for light, and it's for divine light. So when you're working with pendulum or cards or whatever it is, you're being the vessel of guidance for yourself, or if you're working on another person, you're holding space. That's what you're doing. You're holding space, whether it means it's for yourself or for another person. Okay. I don't know if that answers that. Alignment with your higher self, angel work, and communication. Okay, so I've been working with my angels a lot lately, specifically guardian angels. And I find that I can have, which is what I realized, Amy, I just talked to Amy before about pendulum work. So I have, I'm just going to draw out my chart where what my dowsing looks like for you guys. And after I started using this, the yes, no, maybe, I'll ask later, I realized that my pendulum started moving in different ways that I wasn't completely understanding. I didn't understand. Clockwise and then counterclockwise. All right, so yes, no. This way is maybe. Ask later. Ask later usually is like some stupid question that you have in your mind, like, oh my God, like, am I gonna win the lottery? That's like, no. Ask later. You're coming from ego. Like, stop.
Yeah. Can you ask it if your guardian angels are here, if you're speaking to them?
Yeah.
You can ask that? Okay.
Yeah. I am, and then GA, I call guardian angels, my GA. They're my peeps.
Okay.
And then I have another one that I don't really understand it. I'm still working with, and it's twin flame energy. All right, so it's gonna look wicked complicated, but it's really not.
I can't see anything on my phone.
So that's the different ways that my pendulum will move right now. So it's forward and back for yes, side to side for no, counterclockwise is maybe, clockwise is ask later. Going up in this area is called I am energy. I am energy is different from your oversoul. I am energy is like working side by side with divinity. It's just divine energy. It's just, and they call that the energy of the universe or the energy of consciousness. So I am you, you are me. That's I am energy. It's a feeling of oneness of all source.
What kind of a message would you get that would result in I am? Do you know what I mean? What kind of work would you be doing?
I would be doing clearing work, and reprogramming work, and removing contracts and contracts from my karma. Mm-hmm. Karma work. Okay. So for instance, karma work, this is a good one. If you have a hard time holding on to money, and you are struggling financially, there is very likely that you have had a contract in a past life for poverty, meaning that maybe you were a nun, or maybe you were just, it was somehow in your belief system that you were poor. So now in this lifetime, that karmic contract carried over, and you still have a hard time holding on to money. So then this lifetime, you would want to remove that contract and remove all of your patterns around money, your value system with money, how your relationship with it, what it means to have it, the energetic bond you have with money. I mean, that's just, now talk about love, and then that's a whole other thing that can go into many, many, many contracts. And the way you can, so we have like 10 more minutes. So the way that you would do that is, if you find something coming up for you, if you are struggling with some sort of thought pattern, if you're afraid of moving forward, if you feel like you're stuck, think of that as a program that you have to work through, and you can use your pendulum to help guide you. So do I have contracts regarding my speech? Should I clear that right now? No. Okay. No, because I'm doing a Zoom class. Of course not. So, so you have contracts around my heart. Yes. Okay. Is this about past relationships and love? Is this about employees? So you can start to kind of really fine tune and go through all this. And I would probably work with a journal or something so that you can kind of keep record with it. And just kind of, as you're going through, as you're journaling and just kind of doing your own self-development, that's the I am energy work. So false answers are going to come whenever you have emotional attachments to the question. If you're not grounded, or like we said, false grounded, low vibration questions, or asking the same question over and over and hoping to get a different answer too, that will give you like some crazy, your pendulum, your high self just gets pissed. They're like, can you stop? And that's when you know to give it a break and to let your pendulum rest on selenite and just give yourself a clearing, go take a salt bath or something. And then once you're ready to develop the questions, make sure that the questions are formulated like, is it in my best interest to do this? Will it serve me to the highest degree possible? Will I see positive results, what I'm expecting, or better? Those are the kind of like high vibration questions you want to get yourself used to asking. And then, of course, I said communicating with the dead. Don't put curses on people. Didn't have to say that.
Okay.
Doing everything for like the greater good, right? We're working with the light.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
There's only one person I could think of I'd want to do that for you anyway.
No. Still don't. Okay. And then
okay,
working with charts. Okay, so this is the last thing I was gonna show you. So after you see your chart, all right. So if you want to make up a chart for anything, like say you have multiple say you're gonna like looking for a job and there's multiple jobs, you can make a chart that has like A, B, C, and D, and kind of let the pendulum give you some guidance for that.
Yeah.
Same with different stuff like crystals. Is there a certain crystal that I should work with at this time? The cat is about to walk all over the place. And you can just kind of set up. I actually will set up my crystals and then let my pendulum pick a crystal. Or you can, write down the names of the crystals. You can write down, I gave you guys examples in that PDF with like, different modalities to work with, or different foods, foods to add into your diet, or whatever it is. And there are so many different books on charts. I have a book on charts that I've been using to help clear people's karma. And it's pretty intense. It goes through like past lives and future lives and all that stuff. So that's what I work with when I'm doing my stuff. I've also seen charts, even at Zuzu's, at her psychic fair. There was like, she wasn't here last time, but the time before that, she was there selling pendulum charts. And I was like, oh, this is awesome. This is very similar to the one that I had. So they're around. You can find them on Amazon. Does anybody have any more questions before it's time?
No, I don't think so. When you're working with the pendulum, you can ask all the questions in your head, right? Or is it better to ask them aloud?
Nah, no. It's better to just really like get into working with the thoughts in your mind.
Okay.
And then whenever things come in, you can start to like feel this discernment from what's yours and what's something else. So I don't know if you do any sort of like psychic work or intuitive development, but this is part of the intuitive development section of the pendulum, is that you're going to start getting answers. And then when you re-ask the questions again in your head, you're going to know, okay, is this coming from a space of truth or is this coming from something else? Mm-hmm. So it's good practice. So when you have this pendulum with, like, I would carry it when I get a new one, I carry it with me 24/7 in my pocket. Like it's on me all the time.
Why that?
What?
Why do you do that?
Because I want to bond with it. I want it to resonate with my own frequency. I want it to really like feel me to the point where I pick it up and I don't even have to ask. You know what I mean? Like it goes straight into waiting. I don't even have to do anything. Like that's how my pendulum is now. Like I pick it up and it's moving. It's like ready for me to just to do the work.
Okay.
So
it's kind of up your energy.
Yeah, it's like we're like attuned to each other. So then when you're picking up a pendulum and you're like, this one's not moving for me, I don't know. It may just be that pendulum. Because there's people who go and like pick up pendulums and it barely moves, pick one up, barely moves. And then they find one and it's like, whoa, this is like so different. It really depends, especially if you're working with crystals, because crystals have their own soul. They have their own energy that you know, if they want to work with you or not. Like for this green aventurine, for me, like my energy is too intense for it. This energy is too soft for me. I need something like that's a power puncher, like black tourmaline, or like a tiger's eye. Like I can't work with rose quartz. I love rose quartz so much, but I just can't work with it because it's too soft. It's too loving. No, but if I was working on somebody else, like say, Amy, if I was working on you and I was doing a clearing on your body, I would probably use rose quartz. But if I'm using it, this is on me personally, then I want the black tourmaline. But you're not working on other people, on clients or anything. So you're working on yourself. So you have a rose quartz, right? Yeah. Okay.
I do. I have lots of it.
That's what I thought. Okay. I saw it before. That's not a psychic thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions with that?
No.
And that was a lot of information. So I hope that I answered or got to everything that you wanted to know. You can feel free to email me if there's any other questions, or, you know, maybe I'll see you at Zuzu's and we can.
Yeah, cool. Good. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
I'm happy that you told me to carry it on me, so I'm going to do that. So I can really bond with it. So
it actually does make a big difference.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Sue told me to do that. She was like, make sure you carry it with you. And I was like, oh, okay. So I had it in a little pouch for a long time. And then I just like, you know, put it in my bra, put it in my pocket. Like,
that's a
good idea. Right next to your heart.
Yeah.
That would work.
Yeah. Nature's pockets.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I
know. Okay. All righty. Well,
thank you so much.
Nice. Thank you so much for joining me. And hopefully, I was going to keep doing some more of these. Probably the next class is going to be about crystal grids and what stones to use for different types of grids, like prosperity, abundance. That's the same thing. Prosperity and abundance, love, communication.
Healing.
Healing?
I want healing, yeah.
Okay. like human grids. Yeah. And where you could put them in your house, how to form one, the different kinds of geometric patterns, and what that even means. It's all sacred geometry, but what is that? So that's the next one that's going to be coming up.
Cool.
All right. Okay, lady.
Okay, thank you, Monica.
You're welcome.
Good night.
Okay,
Good
you
night.
too. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.